News and information 570 AM.
96.3 FM HD2. KLIF Dallas. KSCS FM HD2 Fort Worth. KLIF.com.
A Cumulus station.
Now, from the 5th floor Cumulus Studios in downtown Dallas, it's time for Inside Real Estate. Here's your host, Michael Kruizinga.
Good morning, Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. This is Mike Kruizinga, your local Dallas-Fort Worth area realtor. This is Inside Real Estate. Welcome. Come on in. Stay a while. Thanks for tuning in. Going to be talking all things real estate today. Going to be talking mortgage, insurance, home life, and going to be talking a little bit of sports and entertainment to kind of round things out. Had a great week this week. Had some fun. You know, I always like to go out and listen to some live music, and so last Friday got to catch the Led Zeppelin tribute band over here at House of Blues downtown, very close to where we are, coming to you live here in downtown Dallas. And, you know, some of those songs are really hard to duplicate, and some of those high notes that they hit. And this band, and I believe they're called Zoso, and the Led Zeppelin tribute band, and I have to say they did an excellent job. They absolutely kicked some butt, and just had a real blast. Was there with my girl. She surprised me with some tickets to that, and so we had a blast at that. And really good week. Birthday was yesterday, same day as these crazy new mortgage guidelines that came out yesterday, and my girl actually really gave me a great birthday yesterday. Had a blast, and we're still going to be celebrating the birthday the rest of the weekend. Heading out from here, we're heading up to Defiance. For those of you Sci-Fi Channel fans out there, you know where I'm talking about. We're going to go up and see the Arch in Defiance, and going to have some fun. To go up there for a quick day and a half, and be back to work early this week on Tuesday. So looking to have some fun. Folks, if you want to call in, by the way, you can do that anytime during the segments you want to talk mortgage, you want to talk real estate, you want to talk insurance or sports, give us a shout. 888-787-KLIF, 888-787-KLIF. And, you know, we hear a lot of horror stories about agents, and I've always got plenty of them. But you know what? If you've got one, feel free to call in with it, and because those are always kind of fun to play with. So anyway, 888-787-KLIF. If you want to give us a shout. The website, by the way, InsideRealEstateRadio.com, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. You can connect with us and all of our partners there all the time. You can connect over to my website, the DFW Metroplex Real Estate, and catch up with me and all of our exclusive partners. Don't forget to download the app, DFW Metroplex Real Estate. That's in Apple and Android in your smarty phone. Just search that in your app store, and booyah, we're right there. All the latest and greatest information in real estate and all the best listings in the DFW area. By the way, there are no pop-ups or ads with that. It's just the facts, man, just the good stuff. So if you're looking for real estate, boom. Get the app. And that's all courtesy of our folks out in California, snaprealestate.com, snap, 2Ps, realestate.com. Okay, folks, what are we doing today? Well, coming up 8:15, we've got J.C. Harder. We've got some Goosehead Insurance talk, and we're going to be talking with him. He's always got great information with us, as he does every week. And then I'm super happy. We've got our high school sports segment back this week. And in studio, Joseph Prudhomme, head coach, Nolan Catholic. And really excited to be talking to him. This guy has such an amazing record. I was really happy that he would spend some time with us on a Sunday morning driving down here, and going to be talking to him. Coming up after insurance. Then we're going to talk about some headlines, some real estate, and then we're going to get into mortgage talk, of course. Terry Wagner is here from the RockyMartin.com Supreme Lending Rockwall team, and we're going to be talking about those new regulations that came out yesterday and kind of what that means to everybody out there. So, well, we got a lot to do. Let's get started, folks. You know, I like to do a little bit of this day in history. Big history buff, so let's get on with it. Let's go back in time to 1931. Dick Tracy comic strip debuts. 1933, Esquire magazine first published. And, of course, some baseball. We're about to be in playoffs. By the way, Rangers are in the playoffs, but Houston is making it interesting. We've got our playoff berth. However, Houston's making it interesting. Hopefully today in the Fan Appreciation Day over at the ballpark, we will pick up the division. So that would certainly be nice. You know what the fans would appreciate? Yes, winning the division. So you can just keep that free ticket you're going to give us for next year and just give us the division. Make it happen. 1955. Yeah, a little bit of baseball here. Brooklyn Dodgers won the World Series, beating the Yanks in 7, and that's the only time in Brooklyn that the Dodgers won the World Series. And, in fact, that was an interesting series because they started out down 2-0. They came back, won games 3, 4, and 5. They lost game 6. And a dramatic Game 7 victory. They won 2-0. And so the only time the Brooklyn Dodgers there in Brooklyn won the World Series, and, of course, over the Yankees, which makes it even better. Then they were off to L.A. land, La La Land. What else we got this day in history? 1990, U.S. premiere of Beverly Hills 90210, if anybody remembers that. I have to admit, I did watch it, and, I'm going to catch a lot of flack about that. But, yeah. Shannon Doherty, man alive, she was so hot. She was just so hot. And then maybe that's why I watched it. And I hate to admit it, but I did watch it. 2012, Formula One legend Michael Schumacher retires. And what an amazing driver he was in Formula Ones. And, but not everybody knows, back in 2013, he had a skiing accident, and he was in a coma for about 6 months. And he is actually still recovering. But this day in history in 2012, he did retire. 7-time world champion, Formula One. What an amazing driver, 91 wins. So got to mention that of this day in history. So let's get to a little bit of real estate, and I'm going to throw a story at you. First off, let's talk about investors, okay? And I've had a few stories come in the last week that made me think about this. I like to throw fresh stories out there at you. And, if you're investing in real estate, you need to be careful. If you're a rookie investor, first time, even if you're a long-time investor, I've seen long-time investors make mistakes as well, and it's usually when they get a little bit lazy. So a couple business partners worked on a property. One of them was kind of doing more of the work than the other. One, and this is typically how these types of arrangements work. One's more on the financial side, and one is more on the contracting side, doing the sweat equity, if you will. And both these guys had been doing this type of business for a long time, and but I was so surprised that they did not put an agreement in place for how they were going to manage this deal. And so they had the property on the market for about 90 days with somebody else. It did not sell. They're coming to me. They want me to get this thing sold for them. No problem. It's actually a great property. It should have sold already. Their previous listing, and unfortunately, only had one photo. And that's one of the reasons why it didn't sell, is because, generally speaking, people are going to eliminate properties on the internet, on their smartphones, if there's only one picture, because they're thinking the worst. Everybody thinks the worst. And so they're thinking, well, why don't they have any interior photos? Well, it must be a wreck. We're not going to waste our time looking at it. It's up to the agents to say, hey, this might be a good property. Let's go look at it. But generally speaking, people are eliminating those. Probably one of the main factors why this property did not sell. It was priced okay, maybe a little bit high, but I think the marketing, it was an issue on this one. But the issue now is they're having a dispute because one of the partners wasn't paying the HOA fees. It was a high HOA fee condo. We're talking about $300 bucks a month. And then, of course, the partner that was doing all the repairs and the rehab put all the money into the property, and the other partner wasn't reimbursing, and so they're in a squabble. And I need both of their signatures to get it listed and put it on the market, and they're squabbling with each other. They agreed one day, then I come down to see them the next day, and things blew up. And come to find out, they don't have an agreement on this. Now they're trying to get an attorney and figure out an agreement post hoc. And like, what are you guys doing? You're losing money every single day in property taxes and HOA fees. Come to find out, there's a mortgage on the property as well. And so they get mortgage fees, and you guys can't put your differences aside to get this thing on the market so that both of you can get paid. Instead of, you've already put the money into the property. Okay, it's ready to go. It's ready to sell, and that's what you're doing is you're trying to flip this property. But you're just sitting on it just because the two of you can't agree to disagree and get on with it. So, folks, you need to have an agreement in place. And I've actually got another story, and this one's even worse. It's along the similar lines, but I don't have time to get to it yet, so we'll get to it later in the show. But, folks, point and lesson here is if you're going to invest, whether you're new, you've been at it a while, and even if you've been at it a while, a lot of times you're the ones that get lazy. How many times have I seen an experienced investor do a deal with another partner because they've got a lack of equity on their own, lack of cash flow on their own, but they want to get this deal done, so they're going to pull a partner in. They're too lazy to get an agreement in place. Guess what? It's going to hit you in the behind later on. Got another story to talk to you about that's similar about that. We'll talk about that later in the show. Folks, it's Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga. We will be back in a few.
The J.C. Harder Insurance Agency in Uptown Dallas has nearly unlimited resources when it comes to getting you the best insurance rates and policies for home, auto, and more. As part of the Goosehead Insurance brand, you, the consumer, have the power of choice through the J.C. Harder Insurance Agency Network. For a quote today on all your insurance needs, stop by J.C.'s office on McKinney Avenue in Uptown Dallas. Call 214-643-6108 or visit jcharderagency.com. That's 214-643-6108 or jcharderagency.com.
Sellers, how would you like your home sold guaranteed? Buyers, how would you like your bid guaranteed to win? Well, it's real simple. Call Mike Kruizinga with Chris Arnold Premier Realty and ask about their guarantee programs for both buyers and sellers. No one beats Mike's professional listing and marketing services for all price ranges, including luxuries and ranches. And few have the knowledge and patience to take first-time buyers from renting to home ownership in a tough market. Visit DFWMetroplexRealestate.com and mention you heard this on the radio. And listen to Mike Sundays, 8 a.m. on KLIF for Inside Real Estate.
Hey, folks, we're back with Inside Real Estate. This is Mike Kruizinga, your host. Website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. It's time for another insurance segment with our favorite insurance guy right here in studio, J.C. Harder of the J.C. Harder Insurance Agency. Phone number where they are always standing by for all your insurance needs is 214-643-6108. Website, jcharderagency.com, jcharderagency.com. JC, welcome back. How we doing?
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me again.
Well, let's get into some insurance talk. You know, I always learn something new from you every single time we talk, and I know all the folks out there do as well. So what are we going to get into today?
Today we're going to focus on just different values that relates to a home insurance policy, which we have hit, a lot of this in the last previous weeks or so, but really just to dial into it and making sure that you do have, the adequate and the correct coverage, so it will, save you major headaches at claim time.
Absolutely. And I know when we talk every week, we're always looking out for the folks out there. And insurance is something we don't really look at on a regular basis, but honestly, we really need to do that. And because you don't need it until you need it. But when you're not covered the right way, you end up finding out the hard way, and it really hits you in the pocketbook. So listen to JC, folks, because he's trying to take care of you every single week with information that you need.
Absolutely. So we're going to start with basically every home insurance policy out there, you're going to want to have replacement cost. And, typically almost every policy out there has replacement costs, but they might not have that replacement on different sections or different values of your coverage. And if you don't have replacement costs, then that's deemed actual cash value. And as far as putting in English or in the event of a claim, anything associated with actual cash value is going to use depreciation, where, of course, like replacement costs, they're going to replace those items. As far as an example on your contents, like a theft or a robbery, if you went out and spent $2,000 on a brand new smart TV and that was stolen and you didn't have replacement cost, then they're not going to give you $2,000 to replace that TV. They're going to look how many months you had it, take in that depreciation, and in a sense, it's like them sending you back to a garage sale for that TV opposed to going back to a mall or Best Buy or department store.
Exactly, and that's what we do not want. We don't want to get reimbursed for the value of garage sale TV because we just bought that thing, spent several $1,000s on it, and we want to replace it brand new, same thing or better. So we want to get that replacement cost. So, folks, you need to pay attention to that because if you have actual cash value and you're not figuring in your depreciation when you have to make that claim, you can really get hit in the pocketbook big time. You want that replacement value. And that was just a small example of $2,000. What if you had a huge ticket item that cost you maybe $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000? Depreciation can hit you in that same way, and it's going to hit you in the pocketbook, folks. So make sure that you've got replacement cost in there.
And absolutely. And I mentioned theft. That also goes down to, worst case scenario, like a fire, like a burn down, tornado, wind, hail, electrical surge. That's a covered peril on these insurance policies. So if it fries every electronic piece in your house, then obviously those items are going to start to add up. So you want to make sure you have that replacement cost on there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and with the computer, let's say you've got a family of 4, maybe you got 4 computers plus some laptops. You're going to have some iPods, iPads in there. You're going to have smartphones in there, multiple TVs, all kinds of cable boxes, this, that, and the other. Folks, that amount of money adds up. We could be talking $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 real quick, depending on your particular price point in your house for your items. But that can add up real quick. And if you don't have replacement value, boy, you could be hit big time.
Absolutely. So almost every policy that Patty and I sell there at Goosehead Insurance is replacement costs. And if anybody comes to us saying we want the absolutely cheapest thing possible, we are still going to spend tons and tons of time on, explaining the benefits, advantages and disadvantages to the different type of policies. And typically it's not that much more expensive to have the replacement cost. And, so don't save, a couple dollars a month to, lose thousands when something happens. And it just takes out that headache of a claim.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I know we spend a lot of time talking about electronics on it because electronics are high-ticket items, but we're talking other things as well. So, what about pool pumps, all those things? What about backyard patio, pergola, those types of things as well? And those dollar figures add up as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So just the structure in general, from the siding, from the foundation to the roof. A lot of carriers right now, we're in North Texas and we have so many different storms. So some companies, if it is an older roof, they might not, they'll say, okay, we'll write your policy, but we're going to give you actual cash value for the roof. And then that storm happens and, maybe it was a cash deal you bought, a couple months ago and you took advantage of the offer. But either way, that's going to, be a big, headache at claim time, knowing that you're not going to get that roof replaced and you're basically going to have to pay for that out of pocket.
Exactly. So no matter whether it's contents or a structural part of the house or something connected to, or just maybe a backyard structure, all of these things you can get replacement cost value in your policy. Generally speaking, we're only talking a few bucks difference otherwise, and it's worth it so that you're covered because you don't want to get hit all of a sudden and be like, oh, wow, I am absolutely you-know-what, and we don't want that to happen. So you got to get with JC and Patty over at Goosehead Insurance, the JC Harder Agency, so you can get squared away. Any other big points about that, JC?
Again, just make sure, cover all your angles, make sure you have the replacement costs on the structure, have the replacement costs on your belongings. And then again, I've mentioned it many times, but there is limits on those, some ticket items, whether if it's jewelry or electronics or sports memorabilia, things like that. But last little piece is almost every single lender for a new home purchase does require a replacement cost policy. So, don't waste the time even looking at those depreciation policies. Go ahead and, go with the replacement cost.
Absolutely. And then, of course, like you just talked about with jewelry, maybe jewelry, firearms, some of the sports memorabilia, if some of those items probably need to be scheduled separately. You may need appraisals on those separately. So you want to take care of that as well. But all right, JC. Well, that is some great information. Anything else?
That'll be it.
That'll be it. Well, I think we hit it really good with replacement versus cash, folks. I mean, if you didn't figure it out, you better have that replacement cost in your policy for not only the structural, but your contents as well, because you could be out of luck if you don't have it when you need it. I always recommend, folks, you need to give JC and Patty a phone call and just have them look over all of your policies. They have the ability to shop around all over the nation for the best absolute prices for you, the best policies for you, and your regular, typical local agent isn't going to have that kind of ability. They're going to sell you whatever they have. They're going to try to stick you in the box that they have, and that's it. Whereas JC and Patty really care. They're going to try to get you squared away with the absolute correct policy for you at the right price. Folks, it's jcharderagency.com is the website. Phone number where they are always stand by, 214-643-6108. It's been another great insurance segment with JC Harder. Folks, it's Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga. We'll be back in a few.
Millennium Title Carroll PC Real Estate is a unique multi-service real estate title, law, and real estate investment firm that handles over 150 commercial and residential closings each month. Their real estate, legal, and tax services range from purchases to refinances to short sales and reverse mortgages. They can handle all of your real estate, legal, and tax planning needs. Their experience offers clients and investors a comprehensive perspective in managing their real estate law and investment needs. Visit txtitleattorney.com, that's txtitleattorney.com, or call 817-310-0136.
With decades of experience, the Rocky Martin Supreme Lending Team will work to close your home loan in 30 days or less. With access to the most competitive interest rates, the most financing options, and the most access to down payment assistance programs, the Rocky Martin Team won't be beating service to you for all your mortgage needs, including purchase and refinance. Trust RockyMartin.com and his team for their reliable and fast loan process. Go to RockyMartin.com or call 972-772-1866 today.
For housing lender, NMLS ID number 211731-6730, Horizon Road, Suite B, Heath, Texas 75032.
Do you know the difference between a business and a successful business? Excellent branding. Join Alec Drake, General Sales Manager at Cumulus Radio, and learn how you can increase your sales and branding recognition by attending a 1-hour free Cumulus Radio Branding Seminar, October 7th. You'll learn the 4 keys of branding, how to use trigger events to drive business, and how to market your business. You'll even get a free lunch. To join, call 214-523-2760. That's 214-523-2760.
With over 3.5 million square feet and 5 DFW locations, Ideal Floors has you covered for all your flooring needs. Whether you're looking for carpet, tile, laminate, wood, or vinyl plank, Ideal Floors has you covered. And with their price match guarantee and their 100% satisfaction guarantee, they are the absolute best in DFW for all your flooring needs. Call Kevin Hamus, the owner of Ideal Floors, at 214-789-0422 or go to idealfloors.com for all your flooring needs.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey folks, it's Mike Kruizinga. We are back with Inside Real Estate website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. That was JC Harder from the JC Harder Agency, JC Harder Goosehead Insurance Agency, and learned some great stuff from JC as always. Thank you, JC. And folks, we are going to head on into our high school sports segment. Very excited to have here in studio Joseph Prudhomme, the head coach of Nolan Catholic High School. And Joseph, welcome to the studio.
Thanks for having us, Mike. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you. And, we know it's a big ask for you to come in on a Sunday morning, and so we really appreciate your time to be here. I want to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about the new stadium. Mm-hmm. Which is really exciting, and we're going to talk about maybe getting your perspective on some issues that came up in high school football down in San Antonio earlier in the year, and of course talk about your program and the team this year as well. And by the way, folks, we're talking to a coach here who has amassed over 200 wins, okay? A couple decades worth of tenure over at Nolan Catholic. An absolute amazing record. And, folks, I'm about to talk about dynasty numbers here real quick, okay? We're talking back-to-back state champions twice.
Yes, sir.
Not only that, we got a three-peat in there as well. All right, folks. So not only back-to-back twice, but also a three-peat. We've got 04 and 05 state champs back-to-back. Back-to-back 08, 09. And then we got a three-peater, 11, 12, and 13. So, when we're talking about professional sports, that's, we see that many championships in a row. We're talking dynasty. So tell me about what you're doing over there and how you're running this program and how you're able to obtain, that kind of success.
Well, we've had a real consistent coaching staff for a long time, and we kind of figured out the formula and what it took, and to have a mindset with our kids that we expect to win. That's the expectation. It's not that we hope to win. It's not that you wish. It's that you work really, really hard. You have to have an overachievement type mentality because you're not going to be the most athletic. You're just not in football. And that's why I love the game, because, teams that are a little less talented can overcome and win. Whereas you get an overpowering pitcher, it might be over. You get an overpowering center in basketball, it might be over. But in football, at least everybody has a role. And if you have the right culture, the right mindset, and a great consistent coaching staff and kids and parents that believe, you always have a shot.
Yeah, and I think that's so important is what you're saying, the culture, because, not every school, it has that. And, even in the professional world, not every organization has that culture. And so really the culture and the mindset is huge, because like you're saying, you can take a group of players, that may not be all the best talented, that particular year. Every year is going to be different, throughout the season. You have injuries you have to overcome. And so the culture and mindset and keeping the players engaged and getting the maximum amount out of every player, where you might play that super talented team and knock their socks off.
That's right. We've been able to do that a few times, and it always grinds down to the fourth quarter. And that's what we always tell them: we're going to fight, we're going to battle. Fourth quarter comes around, we're going to take our shot. And a great example was the other night. We had a great shot at that, and just didn't quite close the deal, but we were in it. And we were playing a team that was extremely talented. So.
Absolutely, and see that the final on that was 35-31, and the box score, it looked very close the entire game, like you say, down to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was back and forth. We scored first. We took advantage of some turnovers, created some turnovers, and our kids just battled, and we ran the ball effectively, and mixed in enough pass, but we were in it right to the very end. And we were giving up 70 pounds on the offensive line, probably 75, 80 on the defensive line, but at that point you just got to play. And our kids, they bought in, they believed, they fought, and we had a shot at the end. So, that at least it was just a district game. So playoff game, it could be a very different outcome.
Yeah, I know the feeling of giving up that weight differential. I played basketball and football, and of course then they forced us to run track, and then they wondered why we couldn't keep any weight on us during football season. And we're going up against these huge guys, and we couldn't get over $170. So let's talk about, we've had great success over the last couple of decades, but then last year and this year, a little bit of a rebuilding period, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been kind of tough. We had a lot of injuries last year in the wrong spots. Same thing this year, but we're playing a really, really tough schedule. You're playing people like Everman, Lancaster, Saginaw's off to their best year in a long time. Yep. Our district is just really, really strong. So there are no off dates. There are no, hey, this might be a day we can kind of get healthy. That doesn't happen. That only happens on the open week, which we already had. So that part's over. But
no automatic wins.
No automatic wins. There's just not. And we're playing teams twice our size. They're having 1,800 enrollment. We got 850, and we're just battling. If you can stay healthy, it really gets you ready for district. So we'll see. It's been a tough year and a half, but we got a half a year to get it right.
That's right. We got 5 more games.
That's exactly right.
5 more games to go. So, and just an amazing program you're running there with all these championships. I'm talking dynasty numbers here. These really are. You talk about any program, those are dynasty numbers, over 200 wins. And so they finally with all that, got you a new stadium that opened up this year. So let's talk about that. I know that's exciting.
It's not really a true stadium, but it's a new press box, and it makes it look like a new stadium.
Sure, exactly.
It is unreal. It's got have a beautiful glassed-in front. It's got suites on each end of it. It has a nice film tower up top. It's got a terrace up top. And the terrace is it's the size of the press box. Got a beautiful view of downtown Fort Worth. It faces the west, and then you go over to the front and you look down, and it's breathtaking. It really is. Has a nice arch over the top, and it's state of the art. It's got all Wi-Fi, and they're in the process of putting up a big video board right now. It should debut at the end of the week, and that's going to be. I mean, it's looking like a 5A stadium, but the great thing about it is the setting. We're down in a bowl.
Exactly.
It's an old quarry that was taken out. You got a lake on the north side.
Right.
And then it butts up next to the campus. The geography is really awesome. It really is. You got a natural hill bowl. You got trees around, and then you're just a lot of these stadiums are cookie cutter.
Exactly.
They're right in the middle of nowhere, right in the middle of an open area, and you got this.
It's just typical.
They all look the same.
Yep.
But ours has a lot of character to it, and I'm really, really proud of it.
And I haven't seen the new edition, but I've been there in the past, and I think that is one of the amazing things about where you guys play is because it's just so natural. Mm-hmm. It's an amazing atmosphere, really, to watch a ball game. And so if you haven't watched one, folks, from time to time, I go out and I watch Friday Night Lights and catch, new games, new stadiums. And you might want to go over and check this out if you haven't been over there because it's just an amazing spot to catch a game. So I wanted to get your perspective on changing topics here. The San Antonio thing, now, these players, folks, if you're not familiar with it, there's a couple players that hit a referee. If you've seen the video, everybody's probably seen it by now on YouTube. 2 players hitting the official, blindsided, and one of them actually hit the official while he was on the ground after the other one knocked him down. It was a late, what we'd call a late hit to an official on the ground, and it was just horrific. And so that's obviously in UIL, and you're in TAPS, and so I want to kind of get some perspective there on TAPS versus UIL, but then also a little more on maybe the culture and what's going on in TAPS, and is that something that kind of occurs? Do you have those issues at all in your league play versus the others? And just give me your perspective overall.
I think it's just high school football. People want to segregate it out and say it's TAPS, it's UIL, it's SBC, it's whatever. That was one of the most, distasteful, alarming, horrific events I think I've seen, to actually assault an official on the field, and because you claim he said a few things, there's just no way to make it right, to justify it.
Right.
And for these people to say that, he said this, he said that, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. I mean, that takes it to a level that's just astounding. At least in TAPS, it's if a player puts a hand on an official, it's an automatic 5-game suspension. I don't believe the UIL has that rule in place because they just didn't foresee that it would happen, at this time. I'm sure there will be rules coming out and things of that nature.
I'm sure.
But, there was an incident in TAPS where the same thing happened down in San Antonio, no less. It was St. Anthony's, and they did, not the same thing, but he pushed the official, and the school immediately just dismissed him, gone.
Yep.
And so that's maybe the little bit of the difference, but I never thought I'd see something like that.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, the way I grew up is you did not, and this was in all sports, you just did not touch the official. And we were taught you did not even talk back to the official. That was the coach's job. The coach would manage that. That's part of game management for the coach. They talked to the official, and you would not talk back to the official. And if you did, guess what? You would be running laps and running laps and running laps. Plus, if it was something really bad and the coach heard it, guess what? That was back with the paddleboard, and the coaches paddled us. Yeah, they would if necessary. And I don't know if that's happening anymore or not. Maybe not to the same extent it used to, but yeah, absolutely horrific. And those kids may be up on charges potentially. And I know there was a UIL hearing for the coach if he sort of laid a hit, told him to make the hit or whatnot. But yeah, so what do you think this is something that's coming around more with these players, that they're getting more bold and they feel like they can do that to the officials? I mean, where is this coming from?
Well, I think it's a generational thing. You have this disrespect for authority, and it's trumpeted, and a lot of people think it's great. A lot of that particular generation, and the consequences aren't always there to put it away, or the actual upbringing and the what we're going to do and not do, and what the whole line between right and wrong is blurred.
Right.
We can do that. And that's the thing that's a little alarming to me when I see it. It's not just in sports, but it's everywhere. You see the disrespect for authority and the going after the police and the things of that nature. It's disturbing, at worst, disappointing at best. At least in TAPS, we try to have a code. It's competition with honor.
Right.
And so that's kind of a nice broad guideline that, is a statement that you have to do.
Right.
So it's, I sure hope it's not a trend. I hope it's just a blip on the scale.
Yeah, I hope so too. And I think by and large, most coaches are not doing that type of thing. Not to say that he did anything at all, but the coaches have to control their players, and that's a difficult task. And I just think that, having you in here, somebody that's got such an exemplary record, not only in wins and dominance over the decades, but talking about the culture and doing things the right way and playing the right way.
Mm-hmm.
You may lose, but as long as you lose the right way.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with that. I mean, it's not worth it to do it the wrong way. You have to live with those results.
Exactly.
You live with the results either way, so why not do it right and be proud of it? Yeah. That's what I always tell my players. And whenever we do our prayers and stuff, I say, we want to pray for a performance we're all proud of.
Exactly.
That's to me, if you can walk away doing that, then you've made a mark in their life. If you make a mark in their life and give them the chance to see that this is something I'm going to be better at, I can learn to fight, I can learn to really work through hard situations, we're successful.
Right.
Wins, losses aside. I mean, if they understand the way to grind out a win or to outwork somebody, I've had kids, and now are men, it's amazing, judges, pilots, lawyers come back and say, Coach, I learned a whole lot in this program. Yeah. And that was how to really work and not give up and outwork people. And that's what I did in school. So to me, that's where my heart gets kind of big, and I'm real proud of that. And our coaching staff is fantastic at putting those values in place.
Absolutely. And that's amazing. And I can tell by, sitting right across from you, talking to you about this, that is amazing. And that's why I love high school sports and middle school sports. I think their athletics in general is just so very important, and what the coaches do to help bring players along as a supplement to the parents, because guess what? Sports, athletics is life. Life is a sport. Life is a competition. You get up every day, and it's a competition to do what you got to do every single day, and that's life. And what they learn right there, and what they learn from great men like you, Coach, is just amazingly important. And so we all appreciate everything that you do. I'm sure everybody at the school does as well. Folks, look, it's been our high school sports segment here on Inside Real Estate. We've been talking with Joseph Prudhomme, the Nolan Catholic head coach of football. By the way, if you'd missed it, folks, back-to-back champions twice, 04, 05, 08, 09, and a three-peater, 11, 12, and 13. Over 200 wins, couple decades in Nolan Catholic. Amazing coach. Coach, thank you so much for coming in, and we appreciate it. Folks, it's Inside Real Estate. Mike Kruizinga will be back in a few.
Millennium Title Carroll PC Real Estate is a unique multi-service real estate title, law, and real estate investment firm that handles over 150 commercial and residential closings each month. Their real estate, legal, and tax services range from purchases to refinances to short sales and reverse mortgages. They can handle all of your real estate, legal, and tax planning needs. Their experience offers clients and investors a comprehensive perspective in managing their real estate law and investment needs. Visit txtitleattorney.com, that's txtitleattorney.com, or call 817-310-0136.
With decades of experience, the Rocky Martin Supreme Lending Team will work to close your home loan in 30 days or less. With access to the most competitive interest rates, the most financing options, and the most access to down payment assistance programs, the Rocky Martin Team won't be beating service to you for all your mortgage needs, including purchase and refinance. Trust RockyMartin.com and his team for their reliable and fast loan process. Go to RockyMartin.com or call 972-772-1866 today. For housing lender, NMLS ID number 211-731, 6730 Horizon Road, Suite B, Heath, Texas 75032.
I spend my days helping others. It's rewarding, just not always financially. So I got TIAA CREF. They were founded to help people like me meet our financial goals. They've got so many industry accolades, it's unreal. I like taking care of people. Sometimes that even includes myself.
Intelligent investing for the long term. Just what you'd expect from a company that's created to serve and built to perform. Visit TIAA.org. TIAA CREF Individual and Institutional Services, LLC. This testimonial is an act or portrayal. Investing involves risk. Individual results will vary.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey folks, Mike Kruizinga here. We are back inside real estate. The website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. That was our high school sports segment. Was super excited to have Joseph Prudhomme in studio, and thanks so much to him. Just what an amazing coach, amazing things that he's doing over there at Nolan Catholic. Folks, by the way, our new flooring partner, if you hadn't heard, is idealfloors.com. And I love these guys because they help us in so many ways. They help us sell listings that need new flooring. And the way they do that is by offering up their 45-day program. We're able to, if you're a house that needs flooring and we need to get that done before we get you on the market, we get Ideal Floors in there, we get the flooring done, and guess what? From that day forward, we have 45 days to get you under contract. As long as we get you under contract within 45 days, you can pay for that flooring at closing out of the proceeds of the sale. So instead of going out of pocket and throwing down, it could be $1,500, anywhere to $10,000 or more, depending on the size of your house. You hate to go out of pocket if you don't have to. Well, pay that out of the closing, and we get you covered. So great way to get new flooring right when you're about to sell, because folks, what are people looking at primarily when they come into a house? They want to see new flooring, new paint. So Ideal Floors helps us get that done. And they're also just such a great company as well. They got over 3 million square feet of materials in stock all the time. It's 5 DFW locations. And if you don't want to go into their showroom, well, guess what? They will come to you. And by the way, the owner of the company actually gives you his cell phone number. And here it is. 214-789-0422. 214-789-0422. Kevin Hamus is the owner of Ideal Floors, and you can contact him directly, and he will get you squared away. How many companies, folks, give you the owner's phone number? I don't know of too many at all, so give Kevin a call. By the way, if you know of somebody that is in need of flooring, Ideal Floors runs a program called Ideal Floors Gives Back, and for those in a needy situation, maybe single parent, lower income, maybe fixed income, senior citizens, if they are in dire need of flooring, guess what? Ideal Floors gives back. Their program gives back. You can get with Kevin and fill out an application for that, and they can get you taken care of. They are a company that gives back to the community, which is one of the great things about them. Website, idealfloors.com, and Kevin Hamus, owner, cell phone number, folks, 214-789-0422. And we're excited to have them on board. So without further ado, we're about time to get into some mortgage talk. We've got Terry Wagner in studio, and just like with JC, I'm always learning new things from you, Terry, about the mortgage industry. And so welcome back to the studio.
Good morning.
So I know we're going to talk about the new regulations coming up that were passed yesterday, or went into effect yesterday.
Yes.
So let's get into some of that and see if we can't figure it out and what it means for the consumer out there, and even for the agents that are out there listening right now as well.
Right. All the new regulations went into effect yesterday. Everybody's kind of up in arms about it, but I think that it's not as scary as what some want to make it out to be. I think it's in the long run is going to be a good thing for the consumer, for the buyer. It's definitely going to simplify things. So what I wanted to kind of go over today briefly was the new documents that buyers are going to see. If they bought a house before, they're not going to see the same type of documents that they've seen in the past. So when you go to purchase a house or even refinance a house, you're used to seeing a good faith estimate and a truth in lending statement. Well, those have been replaced with the loan estimate. It's going to give you lots of good information that is pretty self-explanatory. I know that as a mortgage loan officer, when we sit down to talk with the borrower about all the loan documents that we're having them sign, the good faith estimate always left people scratching their heads. What am I looking at, and what does this mean to me?
Right.
It just really didn't make any sense. But the loan estimate is going to take away all of those questions, or should take away a good portion of those questions, because it just kind of spells it out for them. It tells you what kind of loan you have, whether your interest rate is locked or not, if it's a 30-year or a 15-year. It's not hidden anywhere. It's right there, first page. It's going to tell you what your loan amount is and what your monthly principal and interest payment is, whether there's a prepayment penalty. That question comes up a lot. Is there any? It's right there on the loan estimate first page. Is there a balloon payment? Right there on the first page. Projected payments. It's going to break down for you. Let's say, for instance, you have a conventional loan that you've got mortgage insurance that starts the loan, but it'll go away. It gives you projected payments year 1 through 7, and then it separately year 8 through 30. So it's kind of giving you the breakdown on what you can anticipate what your payment's going to look like after your mortgage insurance is paid.
Okay.
So that's great news.
Yeah, people are always have a lot of questions about mortgage insurance.
Right.
And so, that is, I think, probably a great thing about this is that it does spell that out sort of in advance for them.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that's pretty good positive there.
Right. It shows in a separate section, what are your estimated taxes and insurance, so that they can compare different offers that they may have. Here's the big one. What are my closing costs? It says costs at closing right there. There's no, you don't have to go looking for it. It's on page 1. It's right there. Right. And it even breaks it down. What are your estimated closing costs? And then what's my estimated cash that I'm going to need to bring to the table when we go to close? And it gives you everything that's included there.
Yeah, and that's one of the huge questions because, what's going to hit their pocketbook?
Right.
And there are so many fees that go along with the transaction, but there are always negotiated credits,
right?
Et cetera, et cetera. So that's nice to have for them.
Well, and then page 2 of that loan estimate breaks it all down for them. What are the fees I can shop for? What are the fees I can't shop for? Now, all of this information was on the good faith estimate. It just wasn't clear. to the person who buys 3 or 4 houses in their lifetime, because they don't do this every day.
Right.
So this makes it clear for them. And then another thing that I really like about these loan documents, these new loan documents, is then at closing, we used to have the final truth in lending and the HUD-1 settlement statement that broke out all the numbers. Mm-hmm. Well, now that document is called the closing disclosure. And you can actually sit it right beside the loan estimate that you got at the beginning of the transaction and compare. It's line for line. Exactly, okay, what are my estimated closing costs? Oh, there they are. Okay, they went up. Why did they go up? And it shows you all of the very important information. These are really great documents for the borrower to take a look and compare on what they thought they were going to spend versus what they're actually spending.
So the documents actually match up.
They match up perfect
as to what they saw in advance and then what's going to come later, which is nice. And I was going to ask you this as well because a lot of this stuff, like you said, it was in the good faith estimate and in those documents, but it may be difficult for the consumer to read, difficult for them to go over, because it's not like we just said, yeah, here you're going to get a loan and conceal everything about it.
Right. Trust me. It's in there.
Yeah,
Trust me.
Yeah, it's in there. But where is it in there? This just all makes it much more clear for everybody, I guess.
Yes, I think so.
Assuming, though, people read. I'm sorry, do people read, though?
Some of them do. Some of them. And you know what? I think our borrowers are getting a little more educated. And I've done this for a long time. And I think now so more than before, they are reading. They are paying attention to what their costs are. And they're shopping a little bit more, which is a good thing because they need to make sure that they're doing business with a company that has integrity and is actually going to provide them what they're telling them they're going to provide.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's a good thing that they're educating themselves a little bit, and I think the internet has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, and they should be. I mean, folks, this is the biggest asset you're going to purchase, unless you're planning to buy a truckload of gold bars. This is the biggest asset you're going to buy, folks. And, yeah, you need to do your education for sure. And don't get lazy out there because we run into so many people that get lazy and they don't read.
Right.
And but guess what? These newfangled documents are going to make it so easy for you to read.
They really do.
So long as you do read them.
Well, and then us folks that are in the industry, the negative part that can come into play with this is there's really not going to be any more really quick closes. So if you have to move into your house and you have to close on it in a week, that's going to pretty much be impossible to do. With the new regulations that's been put out by the CFPB, we have to send out the loan estimate, and then the closing disclosure has to be sent to the borrower and accepted by the borrower with all the fees 3 days before closing. So there's no last minute get the HUD-1 done 3 seconds before the buyer walks in. Mm-hmm. And then the buyer doesn't know what their closing costs are, what they need to bring to closing, or we've had plenty of those happen that way.
Absolutely.
So it's going to have to be a little more timed out with the closing disclosures. And there's some things that we can do, and Supreme Lending's definitely got all of these new regulations handled and set up for us in a beautiful way, so that we can assist the borrower in closing their loan as soon as we can, but some of these quick closes are just not going to be possible like they were before.
Not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and folks, for those of you that don't know, and those of us that are in the industry, generally, when we have a closing in a particular week, we're on standby. That closing might be scheduled for Wednesday, but that's just loosely, tentatively,
right?
Because most deals are financed, and so much is in flux with the lender, and the lender going back and forth with the title company, and maybe the title company waiting on some last-minute information from various sources, not just the lender. But, it's like we're always on standby whenever we have a closing, and I know that could be frustrating to people. Maybe this will help a little bit with that, as far as actually getting a scheduled closing time, because the numbers have to be all solidified a little bit earlier.
Right.
So maybe when we schedule a closing for, say, Wednesday at 1 o'clock, maybe it'll happen at Wednesday at 1 o'clock.
Maybe it will, yeah.
Versus,
because we're working backwards from that date now.
Exactly. Whereas generally right now, we throw a date on the contract. We know it's going to change. Mm-hmm. We shoot for 30 days out, but it's not always hard and fast. We shoot for it, but depending on what's going on with the lender and title company, it doesn't always quite happen that way. But, well, it sounds like some great changes.
I think so.
Maybe some red tape along with it. But the good thing is the folks at the RockyMartin.com team, they've got this all situated and taken care of. So, I mean, with veterans like Terry, she's going to get you through this stuff. So it's going to be a positive for you, the consumer.
I think so, definitely. And I think that now more than ever, it's really important for the consumer to, just like we were talking about, do their homework. Mm-hmm. Make sure that they are talking with a lender who's going to be able to provide them with, number one, the information that they're looking for, and number two, with the timing that they're looking for their closing.
Right.
Because some of the banks and some of the other lenders are disclosing a little differently, and that's kind of circulating around out there. We have the option to email, and we have the option to mail, and there's a few other delivery types, and some of those delivery types can take a lot longer in the constraints that we have for closing that loan.
Sure, absolutely. And folks, when we say do your real estate research, we want you to do that. We want you to be educated. But make sure you're going to the right places for your information.
Right.
I always think, go to the source, go to the people, go to Terry.
Right.
Go to Angela, go to Rocky with the Rocky Martin team. Come to me for real estate. Come to our real estate title experts over at Millennium Title. Go where you can get the information. A lot of times we go the easy route and everything's accessible on the internet. But guess what? There's a lot of bad information out there.
Yes, there is.
If you think you can just go to Zillow.com and get every answer in the world, guess what? You're wrong. You can't even get your real home value in the state of Texas on Zillow.com because guess what? We're a non-disclosure state. You need to get that information from a realtor.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They can guess, and that's what's on there. But so make sure you're getting your information, folks, from the people that actually have the information. All right, Terry, we've got to say goodbye for another week. Folks, it's been Terry Wagner with Supreme Lending Rockwall. It's the Rocky Martin team, rockymartin.com, Rocky with an IE. Phone number where they are always standing by for all your needs, 866-607-5667. Folks, it's been Terry Wagner, and learned a lot of good stuff as always. We'll be back next week, folks, Sunday, 8 a.m., every Sunday, 8 a.m. Folks, it's Mike Kruizinga with Inside Real Estate. See you next week. Attention real estate agents. The Snap platform, that's Snap, S-N-A-P-P, Snap, allows real estate agents to have their own branded and native mobile app available for download in both Apple and Android formats. It's not a matter of if or when, folks. The mobile revolution is here. If you aren't catering to it, you're sinking fast. It's a proven fact that people use mobile apps 66% more than mobile websites or desktop browsers, and that percentage increases even more when you're looking at home buyers that are in the searching process. Picture this. You've got a great conversation with a potential home buyer who hasn't yet agreed to work with you exclusively. You don't have your own branded mobile app yet, so you give the prospect your website, and they're going to use that when they want to search for available properties. The next day, that potential client is out and about and they want to see what's for sale nearby. They aren't using their laptop. They are on their mobile devices. They visit your website, only to realize it's not a user-friendly mobile site as some of the real estate apps they've already tried. Your website may even offer that mobile version, but it lacks vital GPS functionality and other features that need to be available to the home buyer when they're looking in the mobile process. Being left with no other option, the person turns to a third-party advertising app such as Zillow or Trulia. They find a property they like and end up connecting with another agent through that app. End of story, end of opportunity. You just lost that potential client because you did not have a mobile app. The point is, having your own app is as crucial as having a website has been for years. Don't stop advertising with other apps because that can be an effective way to generate great leads. However, for any prospect with whom you're already interacting, whether it's a referral, a friend, a lead from a various lead source, your website, or anywhere else, do yourself and the home buyer a favor. Give them the mobile experience that they demand. Otherwise, they will find it somewhere else. Bottom line, you need your own app to sell more homes and to stay afloat in this crazy real estate world full of new technologies and apps. Snap makes it all easier and cheaper with their platform. Set up your real estate app today. Visit snaprealestate.com. That's Snap with two P's, Snap with two P's, Snap with two P's, Snap with two P's, Snap with two P's,